Hi there, I'm Dani, spiritualtherapist.com. I'm very happy to come to you today with a ton of tips to help you, to help your families, to help your kids, to help your teens. Everyone seems to be going off the planet, off the charts right now with stress. One of the reasons for that is because everybody is tapping in to what we call mass consciousness. This is a very normal, natural phenomenon. If we all lived in Eastern Europe and we weren't aware of what was happening in the rest of the world, we would just be focused on what's happening there. That becomes what's known as an intensity. But as we pull back, the whole world is aware of what's happening there. And everyone, bar no one, has been subject to chronic stress over these last couple of years in particular. So what happens is something called mass consciousness, or the pool of consciousness, comes and creates a heavier, denser energy. And when that happens, everything that is unhealed in your body from childhood, from current life, from things you get anxious about, from things you become depressed about, they're really all becoming amplified. So I wanted to give you a rundown. There's many people now searching on YouTube. It's really become the new television, hasn't it? We have to be mindful what we do watch, because there are people there that deem to mislead and corrupt the minds of the young and the middle-aged and the elderly. That's never been something that we've not been aware of, but I just want to put that little caveat in there now. I wanted to advise you of the kinds of subjects on my channel, Dani, D-A-N-I, Spiritual Therapist. And some of the subjects that I cover are tips for kids and teens, and the history of planet Earth. And I mean the real history of planet Earth. A lot of things are now coming together. We're realizing that we've been mislead and misled from real technology, from real history of our planet. And on my channel, I have interviewed so many unbelievable, incredible people from all over the world. So if you want to learn about the history of planet Earth, you want to learn about the Orion Wars, space wars that were happening before this planet was settled. I have animal communicators that can help you heal with your pets who are extremely stressed, a lot of them right now, because they tend to absorb our stress. I have an emergency room doctor on my channel, and I have 2 other animal communicators that you can also tap into. And all you do is just scroll down and you'll see each title is very clearly labeled, so you'll know which video that I welcome you to click on. I have humanitarians on my channel. I have psychologists. I have people that remember their past lives, and where they've been mermaids, they've been beings from other star systems. And it's a wonderful invitation to really explore. Even if you're a skeptic, it doesn't matter. How come so many billions of people have these experiences? Is it not time to really kind of, do some viewing? Let yourself go there, because you're not going to go to hell for watching things that might actually expand your mind. But you might if you stick with never letting yourself think or breathe out loud or having an original thought for yourself, because you own your body, mind, and soul. You know that, right? You clearly know that. We all own our body, mind, and soul. There isn't a certain person or being, heartless or heartful, that owns us. It's very, very important that I don't care how old you are. I don't care who you're married to. I don't care how wealthy your partner is. I don't care about your governments. For me, the governments across the planet are the biggest failures I have ever witnessed to this point in my entire life. And the reason why I know they are absolute failures without question is because in every town, in every country on this beautiful planet, there are cold people, there are hungry people, there are starving people, and there are homeless people. And that is crimes against humanity, because a government's job, they're one job. They've got one job, and it's to protect and look after the people, not their people, because they work for the people, but they all seem to have forgotten. So why don't we just move on with our beautiful selves, give ourselves love, expand and grow our minds, expand and grow our awareness, come together in the arms of love, give ourselves a new kind of education, which we never got at school and we never got as adults, most of us. But there is a revolution happening inside of everyone. We want to feel the best we've ever felt. We want to join in happiness, and we are taking down all the systems, and we are changing the planet day by day by day. Other things on my channel are, for example, stories of people going into inner earth. There is an inner earth. It's actually real. There are different names for it, and I welcome you to go and have a look at the story of Lowell Johnson, for example, who actually went inside Mount Shasta. A lot of these ancient secrets, these ancient cities, these ancient myths, legends, and fables, a lot of them are actually true. And now we're coming to realize, now people are coming forward with these truths that have been buried, but no more, but no more. We don't give the people that were holding back truths from us permission. They don't have our permission. They're taken from having their own authority, and we are taking the authority back because that's our job, and we're allowed to do that. And we don't ask for permission. Why would we do that? What are we, slaves? What are we, owned? I don't think so. I don't think so. All right, other things on my amazing channel that you can see. History of Lemuria, the history of Atlantis. Lemuria was the time before Atlantis. Again, this is all about learning a real history of your planet, your beautiful, beautiful planet. We've got people who have experiences and explanations of what fairies are, what angels are. We have people who explain the Akashic records or your past life records. Every life you've ever had is recorded in your cellular memory. That's why you freak out when you see someone you never met, but somehow you just can't stand them. You hate their face. You don't know why. Often that's because your cellular memories are getting triggered. It's never just about the visuals or what you see. It's the inner and outer consciousness, subconsciousness and inner consciousness. Is so much to learn in all of these beautiful interviews and stories that people bring on my channel, Dani, Spiritual Therapist. Continuing on, oh my God, there are 2 broadcasts on people who've actually seen, had experience, and connect with Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yeti, the abominable snowman. And there are other names also for this magnificent being who's actually a super, super, super advanced humanoid. The missing link, some people think. Please go ahead and enjoy those broadcasts. We also have Navy top level soldier, one in particular, Dan Willis, who's an amazing man who was working in the days of Morse code, 60s, 70s, was part of a massive disclosure that was shut down when he and others were reporting on unidentified flying objects, unidentified aerial phenomena, whatever the Navy or military personnel label such things these days. And we also have tons and tons of healing techniques, breathing techniques. There's a subject on black holes. What are black holes? I mean, my channel, Dani Spiritual Therapist, it's like a mini Gaia. It covers so many incredible, beautiful world truths, global truths, on and off planet truths. I cannot believe how many people have said yes to me and allowed me to bring them all together in one place. It definitely is a library of such knowledge and such wealth, and we have a lot of fun on my channel too. And also there are 3 episodes, the very first ones I ever did with my friend Elena Danan, who is a very well-known Pleiadian contactee and Earth emissary for the Galactic Federation of Worlds. And we did a 3-part series called Angels, Demons, and Aliens, where we both share our interactions and our real life stories from childhood to this moment together. So that's what's on my little love channel, Dani Spiritual Therapist. And going forward now, I just wanted to bring you some help, some more support. I know that this 21st, 22nd energy of March 2022, for those who are very sensitive, for those who are in some kind of awakening, I know it's been bumpy. I know, I do know. I've had a few bumps myself. You know, we all do. We're all growing, we're all ascending, we're all starting to really look at our wounded child, our wounded adult. We're starting to look at things that we're addicted to that aren't serving us anymore. We're looking at the reality of our relationships, and most of us are starting to realize, wow, I'm kind of mean. I kind of need to sit myself down and have a little conversation and do some self-healing and take responsibility for my own actions. A lot of people are coming into that awareness, which is fantastic. So one of the things that I notice consistently is how we seem to be running on less oxygen, less breath in the body. And it is our role to really oxygenate this beautiful vessel that we live in. So everybody is breathing here. Our cortisol levels are off the charts. Our adrenal fatigue levels are off the charts because we're supercharging ourselves with fear, with worry, with anxiety, with depression, with panic, with dark thoughts. We are bringing ourselves down. Now, in the brain, your brain chemistry, when we were in that mindset, we are no longer manufacturing serotonin. Serotonin is a beautiful natural chemical that helps balance left hemisphere and right hemisphere, left hemisphere and right hemisphere of the brain. Now, in the back, we have the emotional center, which is known as the limbic system. And every thought you have, every action that you take is a balance between left hemisphere and right hemisphere in the brain. But every thought, feeling, and emotion will pass through the limbic system. So one of the quickest ways, instant ways, free ways to really help yourself come up to ultimate well-being and feeling is to be aware of your breath. So, and it's causing a lot of stress and lack of sleep to people not breathing properly. So just very quickly and very simply, you breathe in through the nose. Put your hands on your belly, push out through your mouth and down into the belly. Now physically feel it. In through the nose, out through the mouth, put your hands on your belly, push out through the mouth and down into the belly. You want to physically feel it because you're showing your messaging center in the brain, I am breathing down into my belly so I can bring breath and oxygen, oxygenate my blood cells in my body to bring myself up to optimal health. We've all been covered up the last 2 years. We've all been bothered with. We're all taking short breaths. Okay, so we know how to restore ourselves back to where we were and beyond. It's our right and it's our job. And we need to tell our children, our teens, our elders, our friends, give them breathing, helpful techniques to help them align their own bodies back into balance. This biome that you live in, it is the smartest piece of technology in the world, and you own it. You own it. It's amazing. When you're born, you come down the birth canal, however you're born. Okay, don't go there. Just go into the fact that you're born. When you're born, is somebody there teaching the newborn child how to breathe, how the blood can flow, how the heart and the lungs and everything works together? No. You're already primed and programmed and set to go. You're set to go. So most people that have a healthy beginning, their body's on automatic. That means that you've never needed anyone to run your system because it runs itself. So when we get back in touch with ourselves, providing there's nothing medical that's outstanding, don't go there. Just go with the sensible thinking for the general masses. So when we go in that mindset that, my God, I have this amazing body, it's brilliant. One of the tricks to hack your own system is to tell your messaging center to pay attention. So when you want to imagine something into being, you literally imagine what you want to come. And you're communicating to the messaging center, you know, and you're telling your messaging center, I want my lungs to beat. I want my lungs to function higher. I want my heart to beat stronger. I want the blood to run more clearly through my veins. If you don't address the messaging center, your body is just running on automatic because that's how it was programmed. But we can override. we can actually address our own personal system that nobody else on the planet owns, just us, of course, obvious, right? Take control of ourselves. I mean, I've done things in the past, I can't even tell you, where like I've gone to fall down, and as soon as I'm on my way to fall down, like say skiing or something, or just tripping up, I literally, before I've hit the ground, tell my body, A, relax and it's not going to hurt. A, relax and it's not going to hurt. It's so incredible. That's just one small example. I've got a few things I want to get through in this little broadcast here. I just want to fill you up with tips and help and not go too much into story, because my channel is full. There's like 88, 89 videos full of people's stories, people's amazing lives, the truth of planet Earth, the truth of you. There's just so much there. So I don't want to get too distracted here. Breathing obviously is important. If you don't breathe, you're going to die, aren't you? Unless you're on a machine, and nobody wants that either. Now, I do want to let you know that as we've been breathing shallow, if you're waking up at night and if you don't know how to relax, this is one of the quickest hacks I've ever come across. And my friend Ginny Jablonski, who is the animal communicator on my channel, one of them, she reminded me of this technique a few broadcasts ago. So when you are in the normal mind state that most people on the planet are, which is running dangerously high cortisol levels for some, adrenal fatigue for some, fear, worry, anxiety, our mind, our brain is stuck on fight or flight, fight or flight, fight or flight. That causes enormous amounts of adrenals to, your adrenals to get really amplified. And it's not a healthy stasis for the body to be in all the time. But listen to this. Listen to this, Mr. and Mrs. A way to overcome that is to take 2 breaths in and 4 breaths out. 2 breaths in and 4 breaths out. Guess what? Guess what? When you do that, you instantly turn off fight or flight, fight or flight, fight or flight, because you stop going because of all the stress that you're suffering in your beautiful body right now. The minute you show your messaging center and you quit the breathing and you change the breathing, in for 2, out for 4, you turn off the panic, the stress, the overwhelm instantly, and your body can come down into calm. Now, I practice what I preach. If I wake up at night like I did last night, because so much nonsense going on the planet last night, so much heavy energy, so much bombardment for different reasons, I went in for 2, out for 4. Sometimes I was breathing in for 3 and out for 6. And it just takes you down, down, down into a calmer stasis, which is what we want. It's what we need. It's what we deserve, to love ourselves, to help ourselves for free, because this vehicle that we came in, it's ours. It's ours. And we get to experiment with all the natural, normal remedies that I am giving you right here. And most of you know all this. Of course you do. Flipping smart. Sometimes we just need a bit of a condensed reminder, right? So that's why I'm doing this for you today. Now, 2 of the things I do, oh God, okay, we're going to get into some ancient technologies now to again help you, support you with your stress. This is myrrh and this is frankincense. Now, we've heard about these things from ancient times. They're mentioned in the Bible. They're mentioned before in other sacred scrolls. Why are these oils mentioned in thousands of years of history? Because they're amazing. So here's what I do. Sometimes when I'm stressed before I go to bed, I do a lot of spiritual work. I dance between the dark and the light for people. A lot of people suffer trauma. A lot of people have spiritual attachments. And as a spiritual therapist, I am in between Eastern and Western medicine for sure. And it's been my entire life, by the way. Since I was a child, I've been aware of a lot of things that people claim to not be aware of. And that's okay, because what I can do is gift you tools. So I will take frankincense and I will take myrrh. And before I go to sleep, I might make a cross on myself. I'm not a Christian, I'm just Dani, but I like that symbol because it's mega, mega ancient. And do you know something else? Something I realized a few years ago. I realized that sometimes when I look up at the stars, especially if I've been like on my phone, and then my eyes are a bit blurry when I stop looking at the screen, when I look up, sometimes all I can see is not just stars, but crosses, like hanging crosses, hanging like that. And I realized that's what some of the ancients used to see as well. Literally, the stars looking like crosses. It's another reason why that symbol is so ancient. It also symbolizes the visible and the physical coming together. You'll also see it in other symbologies like the Egyptian ankh. For example, the Egyptian ankh is shaped like a beautiful cross. It has more of a circular top to it. It's spelled A-N-K-H, and there are people that believe it is, again, the connection to upstairs and downstairs, but also it is the key to life, the key to life. So many fascinating things to think about as we're growing and expanding our brilliant, brilliant minds. And if you tell yourself, I don't have a brilliant mind, you're just being a victim, you're just being a martyr, because you do have a brilliant mind, because everybody came in with a brilliant mind. Yes, we use them in different ways, but we do, if we're listening to this, if we're listening to each other, if we're on a journey of expansion, we all have brilliant minds. We might need to fill them up with a bit more information, less fear, less anxiety, but we all have brilliant minds because we're brilliant beings. We're brilliant. We're completely, did you know how brilliant you are? Do you know? Do you? Seriously though, no jokes, seriously. Okay, so frankincense and myrrh. Again, to help with getting out of this stuck energy of mass consciousness, other ways to relieve yourself from the stress, remove yourself from the group herd mentality that's stuck in fear, because you don't have to be. You can take your own biome and help yourself move onto different levels of calm and self-soothing and self-regulation. Sage, oh my God, sage, sage, sage. Sage the arse out of your house, out of your land, out of your garden. Sometimes when there's an interruption in someone's house, let's say they've got a poltergeist, or they've just got a lot of trauma that's happened and their energy feels really bad, or they go into one room, they always get a headache, for example. Sage, I do have some over there, but I have to unplug. But sage, you know, a bunch of sage. Sage everything. There's a reason why this ancient technology exists on our planet. There's a reason why our beautiful indigenous from across the planet have always used and still used sage. Sage has certain properties that when lit, release into the atmosphere. It blends with the oxygen, the neutrons, the neutronas, the atoms, the air particles. It is a massively empowering tool that literally disinfects the area where you sage. Now, sage is a pain in the ass for dropping ash. So when you sage your house, put a saucer under it, a plate, a shell, an albacone shell, whatever it is. So be safe. But oh, and the smell, you get so used to it. Like, I love that smell. It smells a bit like weed, but it's actually much more than that. And, you know, it brings a sense of calm. It brings a sense of calm. Like, I've been burning this today, just regular incense. It's just actually finished. When you put something like that on, you literally, yeah, this will do. So this is Nag Champa. I love this. This is like the most common incense you can get across the planet. I've seen it in every country I've ever been to, and it's generally cheap as chips. You light it. I mean, I put it in one of these because you've got to be careful. You don't want to be silly and having ash blowing everywhere. So you can stick it there, or you can stick it inside. I used to work on QVC. I really did. Yeah, so you can see I use it a lot. So yeah, it's brilliant. So you can stick the incense here, and then the ash just goes straight into the box as well. So it's something else to think about. I always feel like I'm walking into a temple when I smell that, and it always brings me into a sense of calm. It really does. Okay, now other things you can do. A salt bath. Salt, Epsom salts. Epsom salts, cheap as chips, unbelievable. Did you know that those of you who have an interest in chakras or the energy systems in your natural, beautiful body that do exist, of course, that's what holds you together. And did you know that you have chakras in your hands? You do. You have chakras in your hands. They hold a lot of energy, a lot of stress energy, especially for those of you who are typing every day on laptops, on phones, etc. So guess what? You can take yourself into the bath. And if you don't have a bath, that's all right. Just sit down in the shower. It's the same thing. And as you're letting yourself feel the water come through you, take some of that Epsom salt and put it on your hand chakra and wipe the salt round clockwise. And then imagine that there are gold plugs. There's a gold plug here and a gold plug here. And very gently imagine removing that golden plug and letting all the toxicity that you've stored in your hands, probably for years, and especially those of you who do body work, massage. Oh my giddy aunt, do you not realize that you are absorbing everyone you're touching, doctors and nurses, everyone you're touching, you're absorbing their energy, not your job, and you don't need to be doing that. So cleansing your energy, your aura, your field, your senses is the thing to do, because humans are very compassionate, and unconsciously a lot of us just want to make sure everyone's okay. A lot of us just want everyone to feel better. So sometimes our inner child is triggered and is trying to heal that person they're seeing, and they're taking their stuff home with them, carrying it in their body. Not fun. So the Epsom salt bath or the Epsom salt shower, perfect. Rubbing on the hand chakras and also rubbing on the feet chakras. Yes, we have chakras in our feet, on the base of the foot, on the base of the foot. Again, rub your feet in the bath or the shower with Epsom salts. Like, get into yourself, get into yourself, get into your physical body, enjoy your physical body. So rubbing your feet with Epsom salts underneath the foot, round and round, Epsom salts clockwise. Imagine that you have golden plug. Pull the plug out gently. Imagine your body just letting go of all the toxicity that you may have stored in your cellular structure, membranes, emotional body, mental body, ethereal body, and astral body, and absolutely your physical body. It's bloody lovely. I love doing that. I love having an Epsom bath. Getting the body moving is without question one of the most important things you can do. So those of you that are able to move your bodies, you don't need to go to the gym. A lot of people are like, oh God, I'm too fat to go to the gym. God, I so know what, I used to have the same thoughts myself. I'd be like, let me just lose 10 pounds. And it's ridiculous. You don't need to go to the gym when all you need to do, I mean, honestly, I think if people who are able to do a plank, practice doing a plank or two or three to see if you can get up to a minute and you're not straining and you're not hurting yourself. A plank is one of the most amazing exercises, quickest but most effective that has ever come to mind. Now, if you have a hernia, if you have, come on, be sensible. Okay, I don't want anyone saying, yes, but, yes, but, yes, but. Please don't waste your time or mine with negative comments. Those of you who are able to do a plank, I recommend looking online to see how to do it properly and then having a go. I met a woman years ago, her name was Gigi. She was so fun. She's like, Dani, the best way to keep in touch is a little bit of up and down, a little bit of up and down, because just standing up and down gently, keeping your knees nice and soft. I am not a trainer, nor do I pretend to be, but I have hired a few in my lifetime. But anyway, just bending up and down. Oh my God, not only does it tighten your ass, not only does it get the blood flowing, the cardiovascular system going, it starts to immediately tone you up. So even if you did 2 a day, 1, 2, all you're doing is starting to show your body that your intention is to start to move it more than potentially you have done. The other thing, this woman years ago made this whole exercise package, and it was genius. And it was called something like Walking Your Way to Fitness. And all this girl does, she's like, put on a movie, put on your favorite documentary, and walk on the spot. Just walk on the spot. Walking in your living room because you can, stand because you can. Get the kids up, get your husband up, your wife up, you love her, and just walk on the spot. Dude, it's amazing. I have done it and I do this. I mean, I'm standing up now talking to you. Just by doing that, my cardiovascular system is going. Just by, and honestly, it's like if you think, you know, like I can't do it, I can't be bothered, I can't make myself, I'm too low, I'm too depressed, that is definitely the time to do it. Because the more we think, I can't get out of bed, I can't, believe me, I know what I'm talking about. I've had all of these depressive feelings where you think, I can't get up, I can't do anything. You can. The minute, the second your physical body engages with itself and you start moving gently, carefully, sensibly, don't push yourself, especially if you've been sedentary for a while, especially if you haven't done anything for a while. The second you start to move the physical body, the brain chemistry releases. It can't not. It all works together. There's no separation. Physical clicks into brain chemistry, then we're releasing dopamine, endorphin, and serotonin. If we're not releasing serotonin, we are in line of getting anxious, which is always worrying about the future, what's next, or depression, which is always worrying about the past. Let's get you in the middle. Let's get you moving. Today I was dancing my ass off to Sam Cooke. Put a ton of Sam Cooke records and I'm like, oh, I forgot he did this one. I forgot he did that one. I love the 60s. I do. I'm just so born in the wrong era. Okay, let's have a look. Where are we? Get that body moving. All right, enough on that. Oh God, I have got so many techniques and I hope you're not bored. And if you are, that's all right. I hope at this stage that I kind of filled you up with enough kind of things to start thinking about or sharing with your families or starting your own YouTube channel and giving tips to help our brothers and sisters across the planet. Now, I don't mind admitting I love reading. I love it. I've always loved it. And then over the years, I got really kind of lazy on it. I didn't really do it that much, but I still gathered an amazing kind of library of books. And then when I moved here to Costa Rica last year, I'm like, oh my God, I can't take all my books with me. Okay, get over it. Give some away, you know, just give them to a thrift store, give them to friends, whatever, and bring the ones that mean the most to you that you can. So I did. And you know, it's so amazing. So the internet goes down all the time here. Oh my goodness, electricity goes down, internet. If the electrics go, then the water goes. It's just like, woo. But it doesn't matter if you've got a book. Oh, it's so wonderful to remember. Maybe you as a kid read books. But anyway, I'm going to start with some of my favorite. This one is Knights Templars. And this guy's a good writer, Sean Martin. The Knights Templars, the original ninja monks, the original monks that protected the Crusaders coming into visit Solomon's temple in Israel and Jerusalem. It is such a fascinating book. There's so many things about the Knights Templars that we can learn in this book. There's tons and tons of books on the Knights Templars, but when we want to learn about the history of our planet, when we want to learn about how and why were the Knights Templars even founded by Hugh de Payon, I think that's how you say his name. Who were they? What were they? Did they really take the covenant of the Ark and hide it across into Europe? Like, you know, it's so exciting reading things like that. I'm not going to give the answer away either. Cleopatra, love this book. Love the great historian, Joyce Tydersley. She's done a really, really good job here of sharing some of the ancient hidden mysteries of Egypt, because number one, there was more than one Cleopatra, but also the Cleopatra she's writing about is the very last pharaoh of Egypt, who was Cleopatra, who was a former ancestor of Alexander the Great, who formed the Library of Alexandria and the city of Alexandria when Alexander the Great invaded Egypt. And did you know that the Ptolemy family, which is the Ptolemy, I might have missed an E there. But Cleopatra, Ptolemy, these are the Greeks. They took over Egypt for 300 years. 300 years. Imagine how annoying somebody comes into your, into your country and takes over for 300 years and does away with all of your, your rituals and your mystery school and all the rest of it. How rude. But anyway, this is a fascinating book, well written. But again, Cleopatra, was she the one who was, really pretty and had affairs with Mark Antony and Julius Caesar? Well, it depends how you look at it, doesn't it? It depends how you look at it. Brilliant woman, brilliant mind, able to be with two men, two very powerful men, coerce them, advise them. She also was incredibly interested in bathing in milk and, taking paraffin to make her eyes a different color. So we're told. I mean, so many things about her, but reading is everything. It's so amazing. This is the book I wrote. It's called Kids of Divorce, under the Kids Soul Speak banner. If you've got kids of divorce, if you're a parent who is a child of divorce, this is the book for you. It is stories from children age 19 and under who tell you the impact that this has on their lives. Kids of Divorce. You can get it on Amazon. Danielle Henderson, NLP Prac, CH Dip, Kids of Divorce by Danielle Henderson. This is for children. This is for every single member of your family. It's not a very big read. Not many people have the bandwidth these days, but it is full of tips. I had a client call me crying one day. She bought the book. I'm like, oh my God, what? She's like, Dani, I never realized that when my mom and dad got divorced, I'd never dealt with it. I'd never released those feelings. Yeah. Okay, so this is a good one. You can read the title by a man called Anthony William. Now, this book is full of ancient herbal techniques. He covers so many: depression, anxiety, candida, secrets behind other mystery illnesses. This book is full of case studies: Epstein-Barr, stage 1, Soul, Heart and Spirit. This is one of the books I actually couldn't recommend highly enough. It goes all into gut health, and your gut is just pretty much the most important part of your whole biome. And the gut affects everything. It affects every organ. Now, this guy claims to be somewhat of an Edgar Cayce. Edgar Cayce was an ancient, he's called the sleeping prophet, Edgar Cayce. And he was a man who would go into a trance, would sit with a patient, would energetically enter that patient's field, would come back up out of trance, and the whole time would be speaking to his secretary, who would take notes, and then Edgar Cayce would prescribe remedy. And he has a center in Virginia Beach in America. Virginia Beach, I think it's called AIR or AIRM. I forget in the moment. I wasn't planning to talk on Edgar Cayce. But this guy, Anthony William, is, for me, after reading the book, is kind of a modern day Edgar Cayce. Edgar Cayce, the last name is spelled C-A-Y-C-E. Again, so many incredible beings, humans who have lived before this generation of us, who have left such a legacy. A lot of their books you can't find, a lot of their knowledge is shut down, it's hidden from us, things are taken, but we can just go back and do some good digging because it's important. Okay, everyone's heard of Steve Jobs, right? Steve Jobs. At Steve Jobs' funeral, he made sure that every person there had a copy of this book. Autobiography of a Yoga. Autobiography of a Yogi. Paramahansa Yoga Nanda. Yogananda. Now this man, and it is a man, he brought something to the West called Kriya Yoga with a K. Now it isn't about an asana and a sun dog salutation, a yogic move. The yoga that he brought, the scientific essence of the yoga, that Yogananda brought to the West is about inside the body, is breathing up and down the spine into the third eye. Now, there is a body of work. This work was taken. It wasn't given to the masses. It should still be honored, in my opinion, and respected, in my opinion. There are lots of people that now teach Kriya Yoga, which is learning the understanding, the metaphysics of the internals of your body. But this is such an exciting story. When this little guy, when he was a little boy, Yogananda was a little boy, his name was Mukunda, and he lived in India. His dad worked on the railways at a senior level. Now, in Yogananda's day, or Mukunda's day, it was very common for him to go to the house down the road and meet one of the holy swamis, one of the holy men. There was a man who could make every smell of every flower come out of the palm of his hand. If there was a dead flower on the floor, he would place the flower in his hand, and that flower would come to life. Now, there are many stories in this book. There was a beautiful man who could calm the Bengal tigers. There are other men who were able to levitate. The thing is, none of this is made up. We humans have had these abilities, some call them superpowers, for thousands of years. Thousands and thousands and thousands of years. We are not the advanced humans. So, some reading, some finding out about your true history of Earth, some learning, some contemplation. Oh my God, it is so, so good for the soul. So good for the soul. There's just one more book I want to talk about. And a woman freaked out when I said that the guy who wrote this book became a 33rd degree Mason, which doesn't mean that somebody in the Freemasons who becomes a 33rd degree Mason is necessarily evil. It doesn't mean that. And I have no proof that this man, Manly P. Hall, was evil. I have no proof. But what I do and have admired about this tome of work is that every single symbol, every single occult symbol, every number, every religious order that you can imagine, things like the initiation of the pyramid, ancient secrets, Greek and mystery school secrets, people who have come before us, so much. And it's definitely a book you're never going to read in one go, you know, unless you're Stephen Hawking. I'm sure he could manage something like this. But it is a kind of book that you dive into, and I've had it years and years, and I would say I haven't even read half of it because it's just so much. A sylph, he talks about legends. Who is this salamander according to Paracelsus. We start to learn about different people in history who have become somewhat hidden from our view. And Paracelsus was one of the founders of health in the body. We have to be careful on BoobTube, what we say, what words we use. We can't speak proper English at the moment because it triggers algorithms by the bullies that run BoobTube right now. There's the phoenix and the phoenix and the eagle, the difference between the two, and a diagram of an Egyptian phoenix. Some would say that merged into the Sphinx. It's just one of those, if you have a mind to explore, look, the life and philosophy of Pythagoras, Pythagorean theory, Pythagorean thinking, wonders of antiquity. Honestly, it's such an exciting book. It's actually giving me chills just holding it and talking to you. There are so many, here's a table, an Egyptian table of Isis. Isis, the Egyptian goddess Isis, who a lot of Egyptians and the historians and people believe that Isis actually is what we would call God. And isn't it interesting how, when you look at the fact that how some words become synonymous with darkness and terrorists and evil. And so Isis has become that in terms of the dark, nefarious, you know, murdering faction of extremists, when actually we're way back thousands of years in Egyptian mythology or Egyptian real history. Isis was the most revered, divine, feminine aspect, and again, revered and thought to actually be the Godhead, the creator. So go figure. I'm going to finish with my favorite book of all time right now, my boyfriend, Nikola Tesla. This little book here is called My Inventions. It's old, it's battered, and I don't care. I read it all of the time. He is one of the most beautiful writers I ever had the honor of reading. Honestly, he talks about his childhood in Serbia. He talks about his brilliant mother, his brilliant father, the death of his brother, his horrendous aversions to pearl earrings, his horrendous aversions to touching female hair, his need to divide everything by 3, his favorite numbers 3, 6, 9, his need to hopscotch or step over the cracks or make himself swim a certain amount of lengths every day. Like, this man was so disciplined. It's so lovely to read in his words, a man who dedicated time, who wrote papers or articles for a magazine in the 1900s that would help the up-and-coming men who would go into study engineering, technical engineering, electromagnetic frequency. He talks about how he would imagine into being his inventions. So he would literally, in his mind, would imagine the mechanics of, let's say, the coil or his turbines, or, you know, another magnificent, you know, the creation of, he created drone technology, Wi-Fi. He knew that we could have communication around the planet wireless, with no wires. 1900. Where are we now? 2022. Kind of a long time ago, right? We've had that technology that long. Anyway, it's just so lovely to learn about him in his own words, how he would imagine. He'd create the models in his mind, and they would become so real to him, and he would test them in his mind. He spent hours and hours and hours doing this. So when it actually came to the point of manufacture, said invention worked perfectly, because he had spent so much time imagining here, rather than thinking, I've got to get a laboratory or a workshop, I have to do this, this, and this. This is how Nikola Tesla, this great mind of our times, used to create, manifest, and then set into production his inventions. I can't recommend that book highly enough. All right, that's the reading. Let's go into some crystal therapy for you. If you're not interested in the reading part, crystals. Rose quartz crystal, one of the most sweet, loving energies, a sweet. This is for self-love, really. Or you gift it to a friend and tell them, remind them to love themselves. It is very much a love energy. It's a very soft energy. It's really good for children. This one has a point on it. Some beautiful clients gave this to me years ago before I came on my travels, or I guess just over a year ago before I came here. Rose quartz crystal, a very popular common crystal. For those of us who are losing our nerve and getting nervous about getting back into conferencing again and speaking, or if you have children who are going back to school who aren't feeling very confident, a lot of people recommend septarian. I think this is just an incredible looking crystal. I've never seen a crystal quite like this. They come in different sizes. Some are in, like, my friend Diane Forster bought one, and it was like a column, like an obelisk, you know, the Egyptian obelisk, a column with a point at the top. But I got this little round one. It's also known as the speaker's stone. So, you know, if you're nervous, you could hold it in your hand while you're delivering a conference speech, or your kid's nervous about delivering a report, because over the last couple of years, the children have been like shut down, social skills causing social anxiety again. So just little techniques, you know, it's kind of like Dumbo's magic feather. Dumbo, you need to hold on to the magic feather, because then you'll be able to fly. And he believed in it so much he could fly until the day where he dropped the feather. Remember that? And then he realized he could fly anyway. But sometimes we just need a little tool just to give us a bit more confidence. Now, I've been talking a lot on my channel, and I've interviewed people who know about Andara crystals. Here is one that I wear all the time. The Andara crystals, there are a lot of fake. Be careful. These are not cheap. You have to be very careful where you get your Andaras from. There's 3 or 4 videos on my broadcast, 3 or 4 broadcasts on my channel, Dani spiritual therapist on Andaras. These will kick your ass. So be mindful. If you really want to make some changes in your world and you want some crystalline support, because it blends and amplifies with the crystalline energy that's naturally inside of your body. And crystal energy is pretty much in everything: your computers, laptops, lights, watches. I mean, crystal energy frequency is everywhere. Now, a piece like this is a huge piece of Andara Crystal. This is really going to hand you your ass. Trust me. This was a gift from friends, Amira Atlantis and Tamara, the artist Tamara. And they sent it to me, and it's beautiful. But you got to be ready, because if you haven't done your inner work, you haven't been, doing your salt baths and being kind to yourself and taking responsibility for things that you should be taking responsibility for, but not being a martyr or a victim, but just owning stuff and working on yourself, working on your self-healing. Having something like this in your house is going to disrupt. It's going to disrupt, but if you're ready, then let's go. Let's go, because it is said the Andara crystals, they amplify all of the others. Now, my most favorite crystal is the Lemurian. The Lemurian, these crystals are ancient. They look a bit like clear quartz, but they've got kind of a yellowy hue, almost like a waxy hue. And an original Lemurian will have ridges. See those ridges? It is said that they are programmed. They were programmed before Lemuria went down, because Atlantis took Lemuria down, as legend suggests. And a lot of the ancient Lemurians programmed information into these crystals. So authentic ones will have those ridges on the side. I'm very attached to this crystal, and welcome you to explore the energy of the Lemurian crystals. Let's have a look. Andara, I'm just going to do the Tibetan chimes. These, if you don't want to do sage and light the sage, these bust into the air particles. High sound resonance, high sound frequency, sound healing, frequency healing. When we whack and we make that high pitched sound, what's it doing? It's affecting our bodies. It is affecting the air particles around us. It is transmuting energy around you with everybody else there and in the place that you're at. These are called Tibetan chimes. Again, ancient technology that works, that helps you clear stuff out. Now, some of the things you can do if you have no interest at all in books, in crystals, in self-healing, in Kriya yoga, guess what else you can do to uplift yourself? Clean your closet. Get rid of stuff. Get rid of the chaos in your house. Get rid of stuff that you don't need. Why do we have all this clutter? Clutter creates chaotic thinking. Clutter creates stress and anxiety. For example, pair of jeans you've had for the last 3 years, you're probably not going to get into them again. It doesn't mean you're not going to get back into the size that they are or that you were. But like me, I bought a pair of jeans like £60 in 60 quid, like, I don't know how many that is in dollars, but we could say pounds and pence in England. 60 quid, amazing pair of Miss 60 jeans. Oh my God, I couldn't wait. And then started putting on weight as soon as I bought them. So I kept hold of them. But when I bought them, I went to a tailor and I had them altered because they were a little bit too long. But by the time I got into them, they looked rubbish. They looked terrible. I hadn't even realized how bad a job the tailor had done. It's not worth hanging on to stuff. Some people hang on to their wedding dresses after their divorce. Some people hang on to people who've passed away's clothes. It makes them sad. I went into a fancy dress store. A fancy dress store for us Brits is a place you go when you want to hire a costume. You want to be like Marie Antoinette or Cinderella or Godzilla or a dinosaur or whatever, and you put on a costume, right? We call that fancy dress. And I went into a fancy dress store in San Diego, and it was years ago, and it was massive. And I was like, whoa, so excited to find something to dress up in. I'm like, oh my God, what are those feelings? Oh, I feel so depressed. I was instantly like hammered with all the energy. And it was all the miserable nights that people had had, just clinging onto all of these costumes. People that had gone out in a costume and hoped to have a great time, but didn't have a good time. And then all of their energy clings to everything. Emotions and feelings are real. They can totally, hang on. So clean your closets, clean out your garages, clean out your garage. Why is that stuff out there? There are people around the world right now that could really use some of the stuff that you've got 2 or 3 or 4 of, or maybe stuff you just don't need. So move it on, sell it, put it on a local market selling space, move it on. It feels amazing to get rid of stuff. Clean your books up. Any books that you don't need, any books that you don't read, move them on, take them to the bookstore, give them to friends and family, trade, put them outside your house, say leave one, take one. You know how sometimes you go past someone's house, as long as your neighborhood isn't full of robbers and thieves, and people put books, and they'll say, take a book and bring a book. You know, it's a great way to get people reading again. Wear the clothes you save if you help. I've already done that one. Yeah. So a ton of tips there, a ton of things there. And again, we know so much of what I'm sharing. We already know it because we're brilliant. But sometimes it's nice just to go somewhere and have a ton of subjects condensed into one. So during this time of stress, you just remember, I'm an amazing, brilliant person. I'm in control of my well-being, my mental being, my breathing in and out, knowing that I can release endorphins, dopamine, and serotonin for optimal, ultimate health. I could get into reading. I could turn every gadget off. I could sit down and just get lost in learning more about my planet. I could go to YouTube and go to Dani, D-A-N-I, Spiritual Therapist channel. And there are over 88 broadcasts on every possible, imaginable scenario, including Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Yeti, angels, mermaids, fairies, people with experience of being Pleiadians, Andromedan, beautiful brothers and sisters from other realms, the history of the military, secret space programs, everything you can imagine is on my little channel. You're so invited. Come on over. All right, I'm going to leave that with you. I send you my love. And thank you for spending time with me today. I'm so grateful. And I do hope sincerely that you've gathered or garnered some things just to keep yourself lifted up, leveled up. Take it one step at a time, but enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Send you my love, and I'll see you soon.